So in today's video, I am sharing with you a recording of a webinar I did. So this was a live masterclass via Zoom, and I taught it to thousands of you from around the world. And it's all about how you can teach face yoga and create more flow and freedom and fulfillment in your life and work. So if you've ever thought you may want to become a face yoga teacher, you may want to integrate it into what you already offer, maybe you're in the wellness or the fitness or the beauty or holistic industries and you want to bring a little bit of face yoga into it, or you'd like a complete change of career and start teaching face yoga full time, or you'd like face yoga as a bit of a side hustle, or maybe you just want to go a little bit deeper and learn more about face yoga for you. This masterclass is really going to go deep into what face yoga can do for you in terms of your professional life, your career and your business, but also really talks about the heart and soul of face yoga. So this is why I wanted to put it on the YouTube channel. I know you're going to love it. So a warm welcome to you all. We are here talking about the 5 steps to teaching face yoga and creating flow, freedom, and fulfillment in your life and career. So it's going to be an interactive workshop. I'm on this little screen if you're watching this live on Zoom, but I'll be on the big screen later and you will get the recording as well. So by the end of this workshop, this is how I hope that you'll feel. I hope that you feel really clear on an aligned path to becoming a face yoga teacher, if that's the direction you want to go in. I really also hope that you just feel inspired to do work in 2026 that feels more meaningful and more fulfilling than any work you've done in any other year. I believe that 2026 is such a special year. If you don't know already, we're going to be going very soon in February into the Chinese New Year of the horse, which after this snake year, which is all about the shedding, the horse is very much about galloping forward, new energy, new start. In numerology, we're in a year 1 after completing the year 9 last year. So it's again about fresh starts, about really taking big leaps, about reinvention. So 2026 is a big year. I hope also by the end of this workshop, you just feel confident in sharing face yoga authentically and uniquely you, which I'm going to talk about a bit more in a bit. I also want you to feel reassured about joining the training, so the Face Yoga Teach training, which I'll talk about at the end, which is really led for you by passion and not perfection. And again, I'll get into that a little bit deeper later. I also want you, by the end of this workshop, hopefully, to feel clear on how face yoga fits your current career or a new venture, if that is what you want. And welcome everyone. Thank you for putting everything in the chat there. I'm reading where you're all from. So gorgeous. We have such an international audience here. And yes, it's going to be not only an exciting masterclass here, but an exciting year. I can hear some of you in the chat there saying yes to the year of the fire horse. Big year. Okay, we're going to start with a 1-minute reflection. So throughout this workshop, there's going to be these little reflections that aren't going to take very long, but they really give you a chance to think about what you want and where you're going. So if you haven't got pen and paper already, grab that and we're getting straight in there. So if I said to you, what would feeling clear, confident and aligned in your work look like for you? If you could describe how that would look in your life, I want you to write that down now. It'd be lovely if you want to share it in the chat with everybody else, just in one sentence, or write it in your journal, whichever you prefer. What would feeling clear, confident in your and aligned in your work look like for you? There's no right or wrong answer. Just journal on that 1 to 2 sentences for 1 minute just to get us started. And if you feel like popping it in the chat, do so. So welcome those that are just joining. We're starting with this 1-minute reflection that's up on the screen here. So grab your journal, answer it. Pop it in the chat if you'd love to share and inspire everyone else here. What would feeling clear, confident, and aligned in your work look like for you? Amazing. Drop me a yes in the chat if you've written that down. You don't have to share it in the chat if you don't want to. If you want to, lovely. I'm going to read a few out in a minute, but just give me a yes if you feel that you've written that down and you've kick-started from this. Brilliant. Loads of yeses. And we've got a few answers coming up on screen. Nadia's saying more knowledge you have about your work, the more confident you feel in your work. Amazing. Daisy says being able to help others and share what I know. Gorgeous. Dahlia's saying having a solid vision of what I am providing. Beautiful. Lots of yeses there. Thank you, everyone. Amazing, amazing. Hello, everyone that's just joining. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone's saying yes. They've got that reflection. Wonderful. If you want to pop it in the chat, still time to do that. No problem at all. Let me just introduce myself whilst you do that. I know many of you already know me, but if you don't, I thought I'd just give you a quick 1-minute intro before we get into everything in this masterclass. So I'm Danielle Collins, I'm world leading face yoga expert. I'm also a twice best-selling author of face yoga books. I have been teaching face yoga since 2005, so we're in 21 years now, and I've been blessed to be able to teach face yoga to millions of people. I've done this in person in so many different forms, so one-to-one classes, workshops, in global stages. I've taught face yoga a lot on TV, in the press, and of course online, not only through our teacher training, not only through things like this, but through many courses and lots of other ways as well, through my social media platforms, which many of you will know me from as well. And I'm very blessed to have a community of 1.4 million across all of the social media as well in the Face Yoga Expert community. I'm also feel very blessed that I've trained thousands of face yoga teachers. So our teacher training program has brought through thousands of people, and we have teachers now in more than 70 countries. I'm also the founder of the Fusion by Danielle Collins skincare range, which I know many of you love. I'm a podcast host of the Face Yoga Expert podcast, a YouTuber. As you probably know, I do a blog every week. I'm a teacher. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy sharing. That's what I love doing. And I'm just really passionate about simple, effective, and natural wellness techniques to just help us look and feel the best version of ourselves. So thank you to everyone that's putting up on the chat a few more of their 1-minute reflections. We've got Rachel saying helping others with physical and psychological reconnection to themselves. That's lovely, Rachel. Cindy saying a path to express passion freely and confidently, where I offer inspiration and community to those who wish to feel better about themselves. Thank you, Cindy, for sharing that. Okay, so I want you to go into another reflection now. I'm going to give you loads of tips. I'm going to be talking lots, but these are just a few little pauses. We've got a few at the beginning. Grab your journal again, and I want you to write down again, just in one sentence, what first drew you to face yoga and what do you love most about it? So whether you're at the beginning of your journey or you're years in, what actually drew you to face yoga? Why did you want to start? And what do you love about it? Just get super clear on that, because to become a face yoga teacher, it's so important to be clear on this. And you can write it in the chat if you like. I'll be quiet for a moment so you can just reflect and journal for a minute. Thank you, everyone, popping in the chat. Pop it in the chat if you'd like to. If not, just reflect in your journal. Okay, let me have a look at a few of the things you're writing in the chat. Give yourself a bit longer if you need to write down. Just so nice to have this as your starting point for face yoga. So we have relaxation, naturally lifting, wonderful progression as a certified yoga teacher, Daisy says. Rod says, in my 40s and noticed my face was changing shape, wanted to address this naturally. Lavinia says, I just adore things all natural and holistic. Petra says, I read your book a few years ago. I'm a yoga teacher and want to improve my lessons. Nadia said, Aging is no reversible, but you can age gracefully. And if you do face yoga regularly, at age 59, I realised I need this more than ever before. Nadia, that's amazing. Lynn says no invasive treatments. Ramina says, I love bringing my focus on myself. Gorgeous. Inka says, stop aging and look younger again. Francisca says, I wanted to look better my age and wanted something good for me. Fusan says, face yoga completes my workout that I do in the gym. That's amazing. Panima says, self-love and care, aging with grace without the use of Botox and fillers. Becky says, I want to learn natural techniques to pass on to my 8-year-old daughter. I don't want her growing up believing Botox is needed to feel beautiful. Gorgeous. Petra says, feel better on the inside. Oh, I can't see what name that is, but teaching face yoga is fun for me and participants. Thank you. Nancy says, vanity. I want to eliminate the 11s and want something different than Botox. Natural strength from natural, I can't remember what that says. Natural strength from, I can't see what that last bit. Sorry, Nancy. Alex says, I love the elegance and simplicity. Oh, within. Nancy, I've got it. Thank you. Tracy says, add another element of self-care to my lifestyle. Dahlia says, best way of natural beauty without the Botox that can really change the natural beauty. Amazing. Panima says, I bought your first book decades ago and still using it. Olivia says, I found my skin changing since 2 years. I'm 47 now. And when I started to feel a real connection with myself, I did not expect, and I love this feeling. Merjam says, it's nice to be more nicer. And Cindy says, and it's fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is amazing. And if you want to get started as a face yoga teacher, having this clarity on why you love it is so important, because I'm going to talk later about bringing passion across in your teaching. And when you are passionate, that really draws, really shines through to other people. Okay, so let's get into that now. So passion over perfection is what I really want to delve into. And actually over the next few slides, I'll be sharing the 5 steps to teaching face yoga with real confidence and real authenticity. But I felt like I wanted to just touch on this passion over perfection first. And the reason being is we have offered this teacher training course now for, 14 years, maybe 15 years. So a fully accredited international certification. I'm sure many of you looked it up, or some of you are already doing it. Some of you are already face yoga teachers. And a question I have had asked so much over the years is, how can I be a face yoga teacher if, and then ... So what people are often asking me is they're saying, how can I be a face yoga teacher if I'm over 50? How can I be a face yoga teacher if I have this line and wrinkle? So they're almost questioning themselves and thinking there's some sort of perfect image that we have to have in order to teach. And the other thing I often hear is people feeling that their way of teaching has to be perfectly polished before they become a face yoga teacher. My answer to all of those questions is passion over perfection wins every time. So have a think about your favorite yoga teacher. Have a think about your favorite therapist you might go to, or holistic practitioner, or whoever it is. That person might not fit a mold of perhaps what society would expect perfection to be. And I don't really know what perfection is. None of us really do. But the reason you're drawn to them is because of their passion, because of their knowledge, because of their expertise, and because of their heart. And that's what matters with a face yoga teacher. It's not about putting pressure on ourselves to be a certain way. You don't need to feel ready to begin your teacher training. I don't think we're ever fully ready for anything. And if we don't start things because we don't feel fully ready, we're never going to start anything. So I just say, get started, whatever. That passion that you've got inside you. So all those reasons you just journaled on why you love face yoga, that matters more than that polish and perfection. Also, your authentic energy, so truly being you, is how you're going to build connection. It's how you're going to build a community of clients and customers and students you're going to work with. But also it is how they're going to connect with you as a teacher. I also believe that our confidence grows through action, not waiting. If we're sat at home waiting for ourselves to be confident and then we become a face yoga teacher, it's probably never going to happen. If we throw ourselves in, start taking the action, start doing the course, start learning the techniques, start the teaching process, our confidence grows with those actions. And I also feel your unique story and your unique journey is what's going to inspire your people, your soulmate clients, as I call them, your perfect customers, the people that you want to work with and they want to work with you. That's going to be the reason that people are naturally drawn to you. So if you take anything away from today's masterclass, it is be fully and authentically yourself, not only through the teacher training process, so as you're doing the training, as you're learning, but as you then start talking about your classes, marketing your classes, and then actually doing your sessions or classes or workshops or whatever it is you're going to do. Really tap into your unique story, why you love face yoga, why you want to help other people. This is just so important. Sally says, I'm 61 and a face yoga teacher. I focus on relaxation and skin brightness for postmenopausal women. Sally, that is spot on. And that's exactly an example of what I've just said. So actually, by saying, I want to work with this specific group of people, postmenopausal women. Your unique story and your own journey will help you with that. You're also passionate about relaxation and helping people brighten their skin. So that is what you're teaching. And that is what makes you a great face yoga teacher. And that's what will make all of us a great face yoga teacher if we really tap into that unique part of ourselves. So I want you to have a little think now. Who is your ideal soulmate client and why would they be drawn to learn from you? Now, before you write this down, let me just quickly explain it. So a soulmate client is that person, or obviously it will be people, but you can think about it as one person to start with, that just easily and simply comes to you, wants to learn from you. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to try and market to them. You don't have to sell to them. They just want to come to you and you love working with them and teaching with them. So have a little think. Who would your ideal person be? Almost write it down in a sentence as an avatar. So you might, for example, write, it's going to be women of this age, or it might be men of this age, and they're going to be into this and they're going to want to learn from me because of X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Who is your ideal soulmate client and why they feel drawn to learn from you? So pop it in the chat if you'd like to, or just keep it written down. If you've written it down, you might want to read through it a couple of times. Any more detail you can give to it. I always think having that real avatar of your ideal client is so helpful, because then when you're doing marketing and even when you're teaching not to try and be everything to everyone. We can often fall into that people pleasing or feeling we have to convince people. But when you teach face yoga, I want you to think about that particular person and just be speaking to that person. I'm also just popping my website on there, because if you want to look at the teacher training course, you just click through and you go to teacher training, but I'll tell you more about that in a bit. So let me have a look what you've written here. So Daisy says senior women. Nancy says, my ideal client would be seeking a partnership in a journey of self-care. Beautiful. Rod says, I'm a newly qualified homeopath with particularly interested in clients with congestion in their lymphatic system and possibly also unresolved trauma, e.g. from childhood. Perfect, Rod. So that's going to be amazing. Face yoga is going to fit beautifully into that, particularly working with the lymphatic system, and also things like the acupressure are going to be really good alongside the trauma work as well. Nadia says women above 40. Perfect, Nadia. That's absolutely great. Darlie says my soulmate clients are teenagers to help them build healthy habits early, and women over 40 to help them reconnect with their confidence and natural beauty. Amazing. Postmenopausal women who feel overlooked, bonding Grounding Women. My name is Steffi. Thank you, Steffi. That's great. Amazing. Okay, so let's talk about real root, the real core of face yoga. So when you do the teacher training course, and I'm going to explain more about this at the beginning, but you can do it in one of two ways. You either will do the self-study in your own time at your own pace. You've got beautiful videos, you've got beautiful diagrams, writing. I mean, it's a really lovely course to study in your own time, and you take an absolute minimum of 12 hours doing that. You would then do your written assignment, and then you have a 30-minute video call with one of our trainers where you do your 10-minute practical assignment, and you have loads of time for questions. You can have support before, during and after as well. Or you can do all that, plus you can work with one of our super trainers one-to-one on video call for an extra 7 hours. So that's what's called our one-to-one training. But the aim of all of that is to really help others. That's why we want you to be a face yoga teacher, because teaching face yoga is an act of service. And just as a little extra, before I forget, I'll mention it again at the end, but if you book the teacher training anytime between now and the 29th of January, on the 29th of January, I'm going to do a group coaching call. So I'll be able to see you and hear you, unlike today. So it'll be much more interactive, and I will be guiding you through exactly how to do the course. I'll be helping you set really specific goals in terms of your teaching. I'm going to be helping you with the business side of teaching, becoming a face yoga teacher. So it's a really lovely bonus. So if you've ever been thinking about becoming a face yoga teacher, booking in the next 2 weeks is the best time to do it because of this amazing bonus. Now, another thing really important to remember is small, consistent daily practice is what's going to create big shifts. So when you're thinking about your teacher training course, when you're thinking about your own face yoga practice, when you're thinking about your face yoga career and the people you teach, just keep telling yourself, not only is it about being of service and helping people, it's also about consistency. So daily, consistent, small habits that make a big difference. Now, as a face yoga teacher, I know many of you will want to help people naturally lift them, tone their face, smooth their face, brighten their skin. This is so good for not only naturally helping our face, but it's also so good from our mind and body as well. But there's also something a little bit deeper in this face yoga. And when I say in this face yoga, I mean the face yoga expert face yoga, the Danielle Collins face yoga method that I've been teaching for 20 years that you'll really get in this course. And that is self-love, self-gratitude, self-acceptance, and self-connection. So that is what I want you to feel as you go through the training, as you go through the course, as you become a face yoga teacher. But this is what my hope is, that when you start teaching face yoga, whether you're going to bring it into other therapies or teaching or classes that you offer, or you're going to do it as a brand new career, or you're going to do it as a side hustle, or you just want to do the training to learn more for yourself, I want you to have that deeper self-love, that self-gratitude, that self-acceptance, self-connection, as well as, of course, those wonderful tools in your own hands to lift and tone your face. And remember, being a face yoga teacher is not about fixing people. You're not going to have someone come to you and say, what do I need to do with my face? And you're going to give that prescription for their face. We're not doing that. What we're doing is we're guiding people. We're gently guiding them with holistic techniques that are going to help them look and feel the best version of themselves and really make an impact with that genuine care. Okay, so I'm just having a little look here. A few more of you said about your soulmate clients. I'll just read out 2 more here. Aina, I'm saying that right. So sorry if I'm not. I think it's hard to put an age. I rather want to work towards people that are more into holistic beauty and maybe also build confidence in themselves. I could be more detailed, but hard to write here. That's beautiful. I think that's great. And Rachel says a woman that wants to start self-care isn't results obsessed, but wants to start taking responsibility to look after themselves. So actually, your 2 comments there just reflect what we've talked about here, which is amazing. So let's do a little reflection again. So grab your journal. I want you to visualize that soulmate client, that one person you'd love to help. And then ask yourself, how might they feel after learning face yoga from you? So how would you hope that they would feel? So 1 sentence on this, write in your journal or in the chat. How would they feel after learning face yoga from you? Okay, so I'm going to read a few out. Roz says, in awe. Nadia says they feel self-cared. Petra says love themselves. Daisy says relax, that they've done something wonderful for themselves. Steffi says they're full of inner sunshine. That's so lovely. Inka says happy, relieved, free and self-confident. How lovely. Lavinia says empowered and amazed. Rachel says energized and a release of tension at the same time, if that makes sense. It absolutely does, Rachel. Stephanie says fulfilled. Tracy says inspired to continue with face love. These are just gorgeous. You guys are going to be the best face yoga teachers ever. I mean, thinking that you're starting now, many of you have not even started the training, with this vision, this passion, this why, I call it your why you want to do something. It's just amazing. I mean, 2026 is really about moving forward, but I also think we're in such a new paradigm now. I think the old paradigm of hard hustle, hard sell, working long hours, burning ourselves out, doing things just for the money, all of that is gone. Now it's about this new paradigm. It's about having the sort of passion that you guys are sharing on here. And I know even you that aren't writing it on the chat, I can just feel that you're writing some beautiful things down in your journal as well. And I just feel like that is what 2026 is about. It's about heart-centered teaching. It's about helping others. It's about being of service, but it's also about looking after ourselves as well, looking after our own wellness and self-care, and also knowing there's unlimited abundance out there, not only financially, but in every way. So that is my intuitive feelings of 2026. Hopefully some of you are feeling that too. Let me read a couple more of these out before we move on to our next section. Aina, and I'm so sorry if I'm saying this not right. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Relaxed and free from stress. Mia Jam says happy and more alive. Nancy says, after about 15 of self-care, I feel relaxed and the stress is gone. That is what I hope for others. Lovely. Penny says calm, relaxed and feeling the best version of themselves. Panima says teaching face yoga make them more educated about themselves and with the results they can see on their face. Lovely. Amy says finding at ease in my mind. Kim says feel a warm glow from the inside out. Cindy says energized and motivated to continue self-care. Wonderful. Aina. Okay, Aina. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Thank you. I love knowing people's names properly. It's really important to me to say them properly. Aina. Okay, I've got it. Thank you. Olivia says relaxed and full of light and love for themselves. Amazing. Thank you, Aina. And thank you, Olivia, for that. Okay, let's talk about the 3 F's now. So what this masterclass is about: the flow, the freedom, and the fulfillment. Because this is what I want for you as a face yoga teacher. And I want you to feel this right from today, right from this masterclass. Then when you get started with the training, then when you join me for the group coaching call, which is going to be so amazing, by the way, on the 29th. And then when you do your training, and then when you become a teacher, this is what I want you to have: the flow, the freedom, and the fulfillment. Because as I said, this is what 2026 is about. We are in a new era now. And for me, flow is so important in your career and life. Flow is when your work feels natural, aligned, and deeply right. So just let that sink in a minute. Flow is when your work feels natural, aligned, and deeply right. And FYI, my word for the year, I always set an intention word at the beginning of every year, which I do that rather than New Year's resolution. And this year, my word is aligned or alignment. So you'll probably hear me say that quite a lot. As I wrote these notes for this masterclass, I realised I put that word in probably more than I realised that I did. Flow also happens when your intuition, that inner knowing, and by the way, that's going to be your greatest guide as a face yoga teacher. It's going to be your greatest guide going through your training, and then as you actually get into bringing it into your career in whatever way you choose. But I also think that structure and that strategy is important as well. And I think it's about working together. So I've always done intuition, but I've always made sure I've got structure in my work and my business as well. And I think when I bring the two together, that's when I feel I've got flow with what I'm doing. And really what I want for you when you teach face yoga is for it to feel energizing, expansive, and nourishing. Now, I'm sure we can all think of moments when we just feel drained by something. That's a sign that you're out of flow. So what I really hope for you in the coming weeks, months, but really in 2026 overall, is you can start to use your intuition to understand things which drain you and really constrict you, and things which feel energizing, expansive, nourishing, natural, aligned, and deeply right. And that's how you know you're being an amazing face yoga teacher, if you're feeling those things. And if you're not feeling those things, you make little tweaks, little changes, and then you start to feel it. But that's how it should feel. So let's do a little reflection on that. I want you to actually really tap in to what flow is for you. So in your life, and this is probably just going to be not even a sentence, probably just a few words. In your life, where do you already feel most in flow? And what do you notice about that? So is there anything you do at the moment where you feel those things I've just talked about? And how does that make you feel? So just reflect on that. And then you can also just reflect how you could bring that into being a face yoga teacher. So I'm going to give you a minute for that. Pop it in the chat if you'd like. So share in the chat if you'd like to, any parts of your life where you're already feeling flow. And if you can't think of a part of your life where you're already in flow, it doesn't matter. My hope for you is as you become a face yoga teacher, this is where you find your flow. This is where you find your thing. And remember, it's not about the soul teaching face yoga. So you may want to teach face yoga full time, but you may just bring little bits of it into other parts of your work or life, but you can still think about how that flow can really spill out into other things that you offer, whether it's other things you offer professionally or things you do personally. So I want it all to connect with each other. Let's have a little look here. Liana says, I teach and paint with watercolours and I feel connected. That is just gorgeous. Liana, I've already got visions of face yoga and painting classes. So cool. Steffi says, women supporting each other and community bonding and growth. Amazing. Cindy says, connecting with people at different levels. Daisy says, helping others. Meg says, I feel most in flow when I'm teaching something I'm passionate about. I feel alive and energized. I agree with you, Meg. That is when I feel in my flow. K-Pow says, writing. Fee says, when I'm in nature, I feel calm. Yes. It just more enjoy. Let's have a look. Rod says, analysing a homeopathic case following the trail back to the beginning or pivotal part. That's so cool because that's, like you say, it's an investigation, which is amazing. But at the root of that, it's really problem solving for someone and making a real difference in their life. Rachel says, leading a yoga practice with others. Rachel, Face Yoga is just going to work so beautifully alongside that, if it doesn't already, for you. Kim says, sharing wellness, creativity and mindfulness. And again, with you, Kim, Face Yoga is just going to slot in gorgeous with that. Penny says, when cooking for my family, walking with my husband, and when I do facials, and I love making clients feel relaxed and calmer. Penny, that is just lovely. With facials, you can integrate face yoga into the ends of your facials. We have so many people that offer facials that do face yoga as well, and they integrate it into sessions. If you want to ask more questions about any of this at the end, I can help you with that. Penny, I also feel some sort of face yoga and cooking collab that you should do there. Dahlia says, when I have a deep knowledge of what I'm sharing, lovely. Will we receive a certificate of participation of the program? And thank you so much for sharing your valuable information with us. Absolutely. So this is a fully accredited course. It is accredited by 2 international accreditation bodies. You will get a full certification sent to you at the end. So it's a certificate you can then print out, you can put on your wall. You'll also get added to our registry of certified teachers. So on our website, we have that registry. So that confirms as well that you're a certified teacher. But absolutely, yes, you get a certificate that you can then take to places if you're teaching in certain circumstances, and you've got that full accredited qualification, of course. Let me have a little look. Lynn says, I run a local community choir. I feel aligned and in my flow. This is part of my why. I love that. Lynn, you need to be teaching them some face yoga as well, for sure. Very good for voice face yoga techniques. A lot of people use it to help them with singing. Lavinia says, I'm just about to begin my own natural beauty treatment room, my own natural products. I love empowering clients to care for their well-being without chemicals. Lavinia, yes. I mean, face yoga is just going to marry up with that beautifully. Tracy says, I'm deeply into writing and producing my music. How gorgeous. Tracy, you need to produce some music to go with your face yoga classes, I think. Vanima says, when I meditate after long hour shifts as a critical care nurse, and when I spend time with my family, and when I do face massage and face yoga. So gorgeous. And I'm so glad you take that time for yourself after doing such a hard but rewarding job, Panima. And Petra says, my clients tell me it's helping them in crisis with psychosomatic. How gorgeous. Thank you for sharing all of that with me, everyone. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about teaching with flow and how you can really bring this into your face yoga teaching and into those other lovely therapies and offerings that many of you have. And by the way, if you don't have any other offerings, it doesn't matter. Many people start our face yoga course with zero knowledge about anything health, beauty, well-being. It's very much there for you to start from where you are. So when you teach with flow, this is what it should feel like. Teaching with flow doesn't need to be forced. It's about just going from that intuitive, calm place and literally letting it flow. Flow also comes from understanding, not memorizing. Now, this is an important distinction to make, particularly at the beginning of many of your face yoga journeys. So when you're about to start the teacher training course, what you don't need to do when you do the course is memorize everything in that short-term memory. So it's like, right, every single muscle, every single bone that you're learning, just got it in memory. What I want from you is for you to understanding it as a deep level, really understand the reasons behind it, the why. That's what's going to help you teach with flow, not just about getting everything straight away to memory, but not truly deeply understanding it. It's very clear, it's very self-explanatory. The feedback we get on a daily basis from people is how they find it so clear. I know many of you on here have done the Face Yoga Teacher Training course, so if any of you want to share with any of our newbies how you found it, that would be wonderful. Also, remember when you're teaching, teach with simplicity. I often think that we think, and I know I've made this mistake in the past because I have taught thousands, I mean, probably tens of thousands of face yoga classes, not just online, but I mean in person. And I used to think the more sort of complicated I make it, the more planning I do, the better the class is going to be. And then I stripped it back. I just made it simple. I made it from an authentic place. And I just focused on being really calm, really aligned. There's my word in there again. And really just focusing on feeling an inner confidence. And that's when my true personality would start to come through. I'd really feel I was in the flow. My heart and soul were in it. And I really think that's what makes you a great teacher. Not overthinking it. It's about just dropping out of our mind, dropping into our body. And that's how we're going to teach with that real flow. Now, yes, when you're a face yoga teacher, and I'll talk about more of this actually in the VIP call on the 29th, which you get if you book the teacher training course in the next couple of weeks, if you've already done the teacher training course or you booked it a while ago, you're of course still very welcome to come along to that VIP call. It's going to be really, really helpful and go even more deeper on business and coaching and manifestation and goals and getting the most out of the course. And I'll talk a bit more on that, about how structure in a class and when you're teaching is important, but also about how to use your intuition, because reading the energy of the room and adapting accordingly is really, really helpful as well. So let's do a little reflection on this. So I want to talk about trusting your inner self, trusting that intuition. And I also want to talk a little bit about that simplifying. So, I just mentioned about we overcomplicate things, but we could simplify it a little bit. And I want you to think about one thing now in your life or your work, and it may even be related to you doing the teacher training. Where could you simplify something or trust yourself more? So you can do or and. What could you simplify a bit more in your life? And where could you trust yourself a bit more in your life? So write it either in the chat or in your journal, and I'll give you a minute to do that. So we're thinking about where we can trust ourselves a bit more, where we could simplify something. These journal practices are so helpful for you, just for starting 2026, if nothing else. Okay, so I'm going to read out a few of them. Alice says, my morning rocket class, I feel at peace and outdoors and sea swimming. I'm a designer, so I feel very in flow when a story and a range comes to fruition. I love all that, Alice. And it sounds like, again, everything that you enjoy and you offer is going to just match beautifully with Face Yoga. Steffi says, I used to think there were not enough hours in the day. Now when I take time, relax and breathe, I have more hours. I know, it's crazy, isn't it, Steffi? We often think about things the complete opposite way round. And often when I'm really stuck on something, I ask myself, what would the complete opposite answer to this be? And usually that is the right answer. Ros says, simplify is gardening and trust more, setting up a clinic. I love that, Ros. That's amazing. Daisy says, balance between family and work life, amazing. Dali says, when I'm doing something I really love, such as face yoga, that is great. Nadia says, teaching face yoga in a simple home setup rather than establishing a fancy studio. Absolutely, Nadia. I have done so much from home. I'm teaching from home today. I often think that that's where we can feel most grounded. But equally, I've taught many, many places over the years, different clinics, different yoga studios, different holistic centres. So that's the lovely thing about face yoga. And again, I'll talk about this more when we do the VIP call on the 29th, which you'll get free if you're booking the teacher training course. I'm going to talk to you that there actually are so many different options in terms of how you teach. There's not one size fits all approach. So everybody who becomes a face yoga teacher has a completely different setup to the next. So you don't have to teach in one place and one way. So for example, if working from home suits you, do that. If you prefer to be out the home, do that. Cindy says, trust is a pathway to my intuition and naturally guiding to follow. Gorgeous. Lynn says, I'm a confident woman. I'm good enough. Nothing to do with my age. Yes. Cindy says, this simplifies my analytical mindset. Yes. Sally says, I do my face yoga online. Gorgeous. Amazing, amazing. Okay, let's talk about the other two F's, the freedom and the fulfillment. So this is how we can actually get. First of all, let's talk about the freedom. So one of the most beautiful things about face yoga, and this is why I have enjoyed it so much over the last 20, nearly 21 years, is I've always been able to choose how I teach, so how I set up my classes and my sessions, when I teach, so what hours suit me, because as you can imagine, over nearly 21 years, I've had so many different circumstances. I've got a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old, but before I had them, I would work a lot in the evenings. I wanted my daytime free. I'd work in evenings. I'd travel around lots of different places. I would also travel around the world to speak a lot. Then I had my children and I wanted to work more in the daytime. So I adapted that. And that's the lovely thing about face yoga. You can really adapt it. I also enjoy working in different places as well. So working from home suits me a lot at the moment, but I also like variety. So I've taught in so many different places over the years. Freedom for me is also about saying, you can teach from anywhere in the world. That's the gorgeous thing about face yoga, particularly with modern technology now. You may prefer teaching in real life, you may prefer teaching online, but you can do that from anywhere in the world. I've taught in real life in loads of beautiful places. Just a year ago, I taught in Iceland, which was gorgeous. I've taught in Greece, in New York, in Maldives, but I've also done so much online. And today, I think we must have, when I was reading through at the beginning, I was reading at least 20 different countries that we've got just on this call today. So you really can teach from anywhere in the world or to anyone in the world. And also you can design a lifestyle with face yoga that supports you. So this is what I really want you to take away from today, that the training is about, yes, qualifying you to be a face yoga teacher, but it's what it gives you in terms of your life. And I want freedom to be one of those things for you. And remember, you also get the choice of who you work with. I would say get very clear on that soulmate client and teach to them. Choose your hours. Choose your income, because abundance is not capped. And again, when we do the VIP group coaching call on the 29th of January, and by the way, if you can't make that, it's going to be live on Zoom. I'll be able to see you and hear you if you want me to, because it's going to be a bit more interactive than this. By the way, if you can't make that, you'll get the recording if you book the course in the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to talk much more about manifesting abundance there as well, and why the abundance and the amount that you can make from face yoga is not capped. But also, something which is very important in your face yoga teaching is fulfillment. And this is about creating those meaningful, heart-led connections and feeling deeply fulfilled, knowing you'll make a real difference. And again, that is what being a face yoga teacher can bring you. So let's do another little reflection activity. And thank you to those that are putting it in the chat. But I know some of you are just preferring to do this quietly in your own time. And thank you for that as well. And I know many of you will be watching the recording of this afterwards. So please do take this time, even if you're not doing it live with me now, to do these reflections. They make such a difference. So our 1-minute activity now, I want you to finish this sentence. So write it in the chat or write it in your journal. If I allowed myself full freedom and fulfillment in my work, my life would feel ... So if I allow myself full freedom and fulfillment in my work, my life would feel. Finish that sentence. Okay. So let me read a few things out because, as I said, 2026, we are very much in that new paradigm, that fire horse energy, that numerology, 1 year, the new start, the fresh start. So we are all about freedom and fulfillment in our work. So let me have a little look about what some of you have written down. And if you've just written quietly in your journal, take some time just to reread that. It's quite nice just to let it sink in yourself. So let me have a little look where we're starting. I've gone too far back, I think. Let me have a look. Okay, so Lynn says empowered to have the choice. Roz says abundance. Steffi says balance and full of purpose and joy. Merjam says AS paradise. Can't quite work that one out. Sorry, my darling. Cindy says, so satisfying and peaceful. Nancy says, open to opportunity and freedom to choose. Inka says, so much easier, more free. Panima says, meaningful and content. Lavinia says, whole. Nadia says, relaxed, healthy and balanced. Daisy says, absolutely full of happiness and joy. Sandra says, light. Liana says, more relaxed. Petra says, with lovely wings. How gorgeous. Panima says, meaningful and content. Let me have a little look. Aligned and complete. And more complete we've got also. Amazing. Sorry, I got too muddled up then. Gorgeous. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's so nice sharing with other people because I think it also gives us ideas of how we want to feel and we can inspire each other. So let's talk. I know I've already said a little bit of this, so I'll go through this a little bit quicker, but I want to go through this, I think, because it's so important. Flexibility and freedom are one of my highest values. My why is really about helping people to look and feel the best version of themselves with these simple, natural, holistic techniques, and also empowering women to have amazing businesses full of freedom, wellness, and abundance. But for my own personal value, freedom is very, very high. So that's why I just feel like I want to go through this just again with you here, because I have a feeling that many of you have quite a high value of having freedom in your life as well. I want you, when you do your face yoga, when you start teaching face yoga, teach in a way that fits your life. Doesn't matter what someone else is doing. Don't worry about what someone you saw online or where your friend might do it or another teacher might do it. I want you to think about how can face yoga fit into your life. Yes, Nadia, no problem at all. Have a good evening and we will send the recording to you. Okay, let me go back to this. Sorry, guys. Online, in person, or blended options. So when you're a teacher, as I said earlier, you can either teach online. You can do it all online, you can do it all in person, maybe one-to-one or groups or in workshops, or you can do a combination. You can do a combination of teaching a bit online, a bit in person. You may want to teach full face yoga sessions one-to-one or in groups, or you may want to integrate it into other classes you offer. Maybe you're a yoga teacher that wants to bring a little bit of face yoga into your sessions with your clients. Maybe you're a facialist who wants to give people a little bit of face yoga to be able to do between facials to keep up their results. Lots of ways you can do it. I just think face yoga is also perfect alongside either family commitments or another career, or it can be a complete standalone business. That's the way I've done it, but of course I integrate it around my family as well. And build your work around your energy as well. Really tune into who you are. And again, that's what 2026 is about. If you love being with people, if you're an extrovert, teach very big classes. If you love working a little bit more one-to-one and going a little bit deeper with people, do more one-to-one. Think about what works well for you. Remember, freedom is created intentionally. So it's not just something that will happen. You actually have to have the intention of building freedom. Estelle, of course, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so let's do our 1 minute activity. Grab your pen and paper again. If your work felt full of freedom, I want you to now describe exactly what your ideal face yoga or work week would look like in 1 or 2 sentences. So there's no right or wrong answer here. You might write, for example, I'm going to see 3 clients a week, or I'm going to do 5 hours a week, or I want to work 30 hours a week, or I want to work half an hour a week, whatever it might be, doesn't just the hours and what type of teaching you'd ideally do. I'm going to do more of this with you when I have the session on the 29th, but just take a moment to write that down. Okay, I'll just give you another few seconds there. So I know sometimes this takes just a little bit of time. It's me. Okay. So, Roz, I've just replied to you in the chat there, so hopefully you'll see that. Panima says 3 to 5 people a week. Steffi says part-time, maybe 1 day a week. Amazing. Ross says 2 or 3 workshops a week, face-to-face in local venues or even in our garden. Love that. Daisy says teach 2 to 3 times a week and incorporate it into my present online yoga classes so I can spend more time with my children and grandchildren. That sounds like a great plan, Daisy. And we can really hone these plans, by the way, in the coaching session on the 29th. So it's great to have these ideas before you come into that session. Lavinia says, I'll add Face Yoga as an option for specific treatments in my beauty salon. I would also consider regular webinars, perhaps weekly or monthly. Lavinia, I think that's a great idea. Joy says, Phil, want to work about 6 hours a week online. Amazing. Nancy says, I see online classes 3 times a week and once a week in-person class at the neighbourhood meeting house. Yes. Olivia says exactly what I want. Freedom alongside my family. 2 half days a week and 1 workshop a month. That sounds great. And these things as well, to me, are so easy. You know, you can really get these going quite easily. So I think it's just really, really exciting for you. Liana says 2 clients a day, 1-to-1. Yes. Tracy says 2 days a week online. Darla says full of excitement, joyful love, and I might give as much class as I can, so I'll be enjoying it. Gorgeous. Lynn says weekly classes, 1 day I choose, online and individual teaching. Cynthia says my ideal Face Yoga week would be 5 sessions daily in the morning as I travel to various destinations. This is great, guys. And I always say you can't shoot your shot without knowing where the target is. And actually, by knowing what you want, you can then reverse engineer that, and it stops all that sort of blurriness and not knowing where to go. Because sometimes we think, what sort of face yoga should we be? We look at what other people are doing and then we think we have to emulate that. But by getting clear on this now, you can then take what you've written down there and you can go, okay, so therefore I need to have this many clients. I need to charge this amount of money. You can almost like reverse engineer it, which I think works beautifully. So I love you're getting really clear now, because it means to me you're going to achieve this really easy. And that's why I say, oh, it's going to be easy, not because you're not setting goals big enough. It's because you're making it so clear in your mind right at the beginning what you want. And from my experience of working with Face Yoga teachers, we've done this training, like I said, for 14 years now. The people that know exactly what they want at the beginning are more often than not the ones that achieve it very easily. And then the fulfillment, I feel, is going to come through that purpose-led teaching. So I've talked about how the old style hustle doesn't work anymore. It comes from that alignment. I always feel as well, teaching should nourish you. So that's why I like you to make this plan at the beginning of how you want to be a teacher. you don't want to be burning yourself out. You need to be filling up your own cup first and really nourish you. And I always think when you're clear on your why, and many of you have got clear on that today, but when we do the VIP call, I'll help you hone in that a little bit more. But that why is going to lead you through your journey very, very easily, because when we know why we're doing something, even on those days where things feel hard, we feel like we might want to give up, we have that deep purpose that keeps us going. Also, knowing your values. So, like I said to you, one of my values is freedom. Knowing that helps me really shape my teaching and my work. So, being clear on those values yourself is going to make a massive difference. I also think we need to bring more joy into all aspects of our teaching. I think sometimes we forget, particularly when we're about to embark on a training like this, or we're about to start a new career, or about to add something new into what we do. We think it has to be this hard, serious thing, but actually I think it should feel just fun, simple and aligned. And even the teacher training course, it's a detailed course. You're going to learn everything you need to be a really professional, accredited, certified face yoga teacher. But I've also kept it simple and fun for you, and really aligned and very holistic as well. You'll notice it's very holistic. Because I just think when things feel easy and joyful, and definitely when things feel they're holistic, not just linear, then you feel that you enjoy it more, but also it takes you on that right path. Yes, Nancy, we do need more joy. I love that you've written that there. That is just amazing. Thank you. And I can see here, Joe says, I have a salon and end up giving tips for free. I'd love to do more workshops. Joe, well, basically, when people ask you about your tips for face yoga, have a workshop in place and tell them to come along to your workshop for sure. Okay, so let's do a little reflection again. So I'd like you to think of 5 words now, just 5 words, on how you would like your face yoga career, business or work to feel on a daily basis. 5 words of how you would like your face yoga business, or even yourself, to feel on a daily basis. So pick 5 words, write them down, just go from your intuition with this. Pop your words in the chat if you would like to. If you're journaling at home, then just take a moment, maybe put your hands on heart center and reread your words again, because the more you can really connect with them on a heart-centered place, the more they're going to really resonate with you at a deep level, and then you're going to be able to put them into action. So pop them in the chat there. Leanne has just said, it's the best course and I'm really enjoying it. Thank you, Leanna. I'm so glad you're enjoying the teacher training course. So Joe says, welcoming, educational, fun, community, profitable. Joy says, fun, enjoyable, profitable, flexible. Cindy says, inspired, fun, satisfying, energetic, healing. Stephanie says, liberating, fulfilled, profitable. Daisy said, flowing, relaxing, joyful, fun and easy. Liana says, beautiful, graceful, joyful, free, content. Roz says, nourishing, rejuvenating, balancing, grounding, inspiring. Maria says, blissful, joyful, satisfied, energized, productive. Rachel says, fulfilling and meaningful. Steffi says, fulfilled, helping others. Connecting, lightness, fun, financial security. Tracy says, loving, calm, inspiring, sensual, creative. Olivia says, happy, aligned, relaxed, funny, free. Panima says, relaxing, empowering, filling, content, and self-love. Nancy says, fun, engaging, sustaining, valuable, and rewarding. I love, love, love these words. And what I would highly recommend is you have those words. You either write them down and you put them somewhere you're going to see every day, or even better, you put them into an affirmation. So I'm going to use yours, Nancy, here as an example. This is what you would do, Nancy. You would say, you can either start with I am or my work or my teaching is, and it would be my work is fun. My work is engaging. My work is sustaining. My work is valuable. My work is rewarding. Olivia, I'm going to use your example there, and you could add I am at the beginning. You could say, I am happy. I am aligned. I am relaxed. I am funny. I am free. And just saying these things as affirmations and literally repeating them over and over, they go deeper into your subconscious. And then your teaching and your abundance, your financial abundance, all of it becomes so much easier because you are literally living with those words and those values. And I'm just going to tell you why I think you'd be a wonderful face yoga teacher. And I can just intuitively feel, not only from the chat, but just the energy of all of you from the other side of the screen, that you would be fantastic face yoga teachers, because I just know that masterclasses like this bring the right aligned people. And a wonderful face yoga teacher, and actually just put in the chat a yes if this does sound like you. A wonderful face yoga teacher is someone who cares deeply about well-being and about self-care. A wonderful face yoga teacher is often drawn to natural and holistic approaches. Now, this doesn't mean you need to be perfect. I know that I choose the natural approach. As many of you know, I've never had anything like Botox or injectables or fillers or anything. But just to say, if you do have that, or if you have had that, no judgment, you can still be a fantastic face yoga teacher, and you can still be very drawn to natural and holistic approaches. A wonderful face yoga teacher also wants to empower others. So it's that deep rooted feeling to wanting to empower others. I also think you'd be a wonderful face yoga teacher if you value flexibility in your day-to-day life and that freedom, but you also value that balance, that internal balance of yourself, of your mind, your body, your soul, your face, but also balance within your life as well. And also you feel this quiet, intuitive pull towards living a life that just feels a little bit more aligned. So let me know in the chat, pop a yes in there if any of that resonates with you. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the course. Lots of yeses there. Oh, you're welcome, Cindy. That's lovely. Oh, yes, brilliant. Yes, yes, yes. Loads, 100% and thumbs ups with you there. Gorgeous. Okay, let's do a little reflection before I tell you a bit more about the course. So I want you to have a think, and it might be what I've just written there, or it might be something else. I want you to write down 3 strengths that you feel you already have, which mean you're going to be a great face yoga teacher. Just 3 things, 3 strengths that you have within you. I'll give you just a minute to do that. So if you want to pop that in the chat, any of your 3 strengths you feel that you have, which are going to help you be a great face yoga teacher. Let's have a little look. So Cindy says leadership, compassion, and self-motivation. K-Pal says discipline, passionate, and compassionate. We've got patience, passion, and compassion. We've got charismatic, interested, passionate about the subject. We've got approachable, friendly, passionate about what I preach. We've got empathy, fun-loving, and being with others. We have got, let's have a look. Patience, bubbly, calm, dedicated, good listener, compassionate, dedicated, fun, knowledgeable, holistic health, convinced about the benefits, communication and passion, already been doing face yoga for years, a naturopathic background, people person, honesty, empathy and well-being. People feel calm around me, positive, encouraging, a beautiful energy, empathy and joyful, good learner, confident, motivated, holistic approach, friendly. I do as part of my routine. We've got love, helping others, patience, dedication, positive approach, always. Yes, guys, I love this. You are going to be the best face yoga teachers. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so let me tell you, I'm not going to talk very long about this. I'm just going to very briefly tell you, because what I'll do actually later, I'll do this after the call. I'm going to send you the link to book the teacher training. Also, just remind you that you get that VIP call on the 29th. And then again tomorrow, I'll send you a message because I'll send you the recording of this. I'll also send you these slides in case you want to do any of these reflections again or go back over any of these points. So the Face Yoga Teacher Training Program, I've also already told you a little bit about it, but it's fully accredited, supportive and in-depth training. And during the training, you learn how to teach face yoga safely, confidently and authentically. So it's an international certification which will enable you to teach face yoga both online and in person to either groups or individuals anywhere around the world. And you literally will get that step-by-step guidance you learn in your own time, at your own pace. We have two options. Both of them come with support from a super trainer. You either do the distance learning option where you learn all online, do a practical assignment, a written assignment at the end. Then you do a Zoom call with your trainer for about 30 minutes. You do a 10-minute practical, we call it exam. It's not really exam. You just demonstrate your teaching skills. And then you have time with your trainer to ask questions as well. So you have that option, or you have an option where you do all of that, but you also do 7 hours face-to-face with your trainer. And we've got that bonus of if you book the course in the next 2 weeks, you're going to get a free VIP group coaching call with me. So although I won't be your trainer whilst you're doing the course, I mean, I'm in all of your videos throughout your course, throughout your teacher training, but I won't be the one with you doing your exams at the end, but I will be doing this with you. It's going to be the group VIP call with me on Zoom. And if you want me to see you on camera, obviously you don't have to, but I will be able to see you on camera. You'll be able to ask me questions voice to voice as well. It'll be a much smaller group than this one. With this one, we had about 1,000 people sign up, but it'll be a much smaller group than that. We usually on average have around coming actually live on the call. It depends who can make it, but maybe 30, anywhere between 25 and 50 of you. So it's not going to be a massive group, and there will always be time for interaction and questions. And then we are doing that on the 29th. So it'll be me leading that. So those two options you have, it's $595 to get the full certification, the full qualification, doing it distance learning. And you'll see there, I don't know if you can see on the side of the screen there, it's a little example there of what the course looks like. So you'll be given a login and you've got all of these. You click on those, you have videos, you'll have diagrams, you'll have pictures, you'll have easy step-by-step on each of the lessons. So all sorts of beautiful lessons, from muscles, bones and skin to face lifting massage to energy work, neck, back and shoulder release, facial exercise. It's all in there. So if you purchase the Face Yoga Teacher Training course before 4 o'clock on the 29th of January, you'll receive exclusive access to the free VIP live group coaching call with me on Zoom. I'm muddling my words up now because I've talked non-stop for nearly 90 minutes. And this VIP session will take place at 6 o'clock on the 29th of January. I think I'm going to stop talking and see if you guys have got any questions, which will probably require me to talk more, which I don't mind, but you'll just have to excuse me just muddling up my words a little bit. But what I want to do before we do that is do a 1 minute sort of like intuitive decision prompt, because like I said, it's not anymore about anything pushy or sales or anything like that. I really feel now, if you intuitively feel the teacher training course is right for you, then that's why you should do it. And if you don't intuitively feel it's right for you at the moment, then you shouldn't do it. I really just want everyone to leave this call just feeling from a heart-centered place and from an intuitive place, they know what is right for them. So if you trusted your intuition, you can share this on the group, or you might just want to do this as a quiet activity. If you trusted your intuition today, what would your next step be? Yes, Nancy, that's fine. Yeah, of course, I'll be sending the follow-up emails, no problem. Let me have a little see what you're writing, Sarah. Oh, you've almost finished your training. Brilliant. Really enjoying it. Very clear and easy to follow. Would you consider running any webinars for trained teachers, even yearly? Yes. So come along to the VIP call, Sarah. So often our qualified teachers will come along to those as well, because they're really helpful, even if you're years into the teaching. So I'll be sending all teachers the link to the VIP call. So please do come along to that as well. Maria, there's no time limit on learning with the teacher training course. So I recommend you do a minimum of 12 hours study of the course, and then you do your written assignment, and then you book your call with your super trainer to do your practical assignment and chat and ask questions. Some people want to do it within a week or two. Other people want to spread that study of a minimum of 12 hours. And some people might do double that or triple that, depending on how much they want to go through everything. Some people spread it over a year or two. So absolutely no time limit. As I said to you, freedom and flexibility is one of my highest values. So when I designed this course, I always wanted everyone that does it to have that freedom and flexibility too. Dahlia, that's lovely. Oh, I'm so glad you say the training is really organised, you're enjoying it. And yes, Dahlia, come along to that free VIP group coaching course. Muddling my words up again. It's going to be really helpful for you as well, Dahlia. So again, because you're now a teacher, or you're at least doing the course, you're on our emails for that. So I'll make sure that you get the link to come along to that. Roz says you're signing up. Yay, Roz, I'm so excited for you to be Face Yoga teacher, and I'll see you at the VIP call. Daisy says, looking to incorporate this valuable training into my schedule. Daisy, sounds beautiful. Hopefully we can support you on that. Panima says you want to learn face yoga and become a certified teacher. Amazing. Rachel says I'll review the information and the details and understand the commitment and where I want to take it and when I want to finish. Sounds gorgeous. Steffi says go for it. I have the time and resources. I respond to deadlines. Steffi, that's so good. Panima says how long would the course be? So you want to spend minimum 12 hours on it. So you can really do that within a couple of weeks if you want to. You can do it over a few months. It's entirely up to you. Lavinia, you say the one-to-one sounds fab. Absolutely. We have the best super trainers. I hand select them, and we will match you with the best super trainer for you, and you get to spend that time with them guiding you through. So it's gorgeous. Excuse me, Elisabeth says, sounds amazing. Thank you. Yes, amazing. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share now. And then please pop any questions in the chat, because I can always answer any questions before we go. Let me make my screen bigger. Oh, we've got a few things in the Q&A there. Let's have a look. Oh, got it back up. Okay, perfect. Let me see. I'm going to go back to the bottom of the chat. Any questions? Pop them in the chat now. Yes, Lavinia, of course it's fine to sign up tomorrow morning. So you'll have an email with the link and you can sign up tomorrow. You can do it anytime in the next couple of weeks. But as soon as you sign up, you'll get the course sent to you. You can start your study. You might want to do all your study between now and the VIP call in 2 weeks' time, or you may want to wait and do it after the VIP call, but you just need to sign up before the VIP call. So of course, tomorrow morning is absolutely fine. You can also, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in my website. So if you want to just click through and then you just click on the teacher training page and it's all on there as well. Now, if you have any questions, you just email, and you can even email right away if you've got any specific questions that you don't want to ask on the group chat here, or if any come up, it's info@faceyogaexpert.com. Let's have a little look. Pam, no, the training is not gua sha and face cupping. I do have some little courses on that you can do additionally, but not certification, I'm afraid. You're welcome, Lavinia, no problem at all. The course of the super trainer, it's that 1 hour with them in total on the course. So if you do the distance learning with the super trainer, you have around 30 minutes or so with them on a call, on a Zoom call. But don't feel you're left alone. If you have any questions throughout your training, you can reach out to your super trainer. You can drop them an email, you can ask them for a quick call, and they will help you. But also remember, you're not left alone after the training. So even after you've done that 30-minute call at the end of your training with your super trainer, you can then reach out to them even a few weeks or a few months afterwards, because sometimes we know the questions come later down the line. And also I'm here as well. So if you have questions, you can send through that info@faceyogaexpert.com and I can help you too. So don't feel you're left alone. You become part of our Face Yoga Expert community. We also have a Facebook group, Teachers of Danielle Collins Face Yoga Method. And as soon as you sign up, you become part, you can join that group. And then when you're part of that group, you're in that community, you've got thousands of other teachers in there. So you can draw on them for questions, and everyone is the nicest people. So we'll help you absolutely loads. Let me have a look. So Cindy says, I'm enjoying the training and plan to complete the written exam and practical exam afterwards. Perfect order. In the meantime, begin planning to move forward with format, learning how to the videos, learning the how-to videos, and begin a strategy to move forward with confidence. That sounds a great plan. Amazing. Alice says, is there any business support on how to apply the qualification and build up a client base? So you get a little bit of that within the course. There's 2 other things you can do. This is why I'm doing the VIP call on the 29th, because that's where I feel my value can best be put forward for you. So I'm going to help you with that. If you've got any specific questions, let me know during that call and I can help give you advice and guidance about how to get clients, but also there will be advice in that call as well. If you've got any specific questions, you can just reach out to me. I can give you advice. I also do have some like mini courses that you can do as add-ons to the Face Yoga Teacher Training, which go in more in depth in terms of social media and marketing and that type of thing as well. So we can always, if you want to reach out on that info@faceyogaexpert.com and ask about our business coaching courses, I can also send you links to those as well. Cindy says, thank you for your wonderful energy, wisdom, expertise and support. You're amazing. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. What about the exam? Yeah, so Dahlia, for the exam, you can just send that to info@faceyogaexpert.com or to my email. If you've got my email, Dahlia, that's absolutely fine. Either way, whichever feels good for you, I can reach either one. It'll just get passed on to me if it goes through the info one, so don't worry at all. So Rachel says, is face yoga suitable for people who have done fillers and or Botox? Just curious, because I know some manual beauty treatments shouldn't be done if someone has recently had this kind of treatment. Yes, Rachel, it's a very, very good question. It does say this in the course as well. So what we usually recommend, if someone has had Botox or fillers, we ask them to wait a minimum of 2 weeks before they do face yoga. We also ask them to check with their practitioner or doctor who administered the Botox or fillers, because actually they may need to wait a little bit longer, depending if they've had a higher dose or they've had it in specific areas. But that would be, so say you were teaching in a general class, you could just let anybody know that usually it's around 2 weeks, but it can be a little bit longer. But all of that safety advice is in the course, but you can always ask any specific questions if you've got it then. Is there any other questions before we finish? We are nearly at past. Oh, I'm glad, Leanne. I'm glad you enjoyed the session. That is great. Very welcome, everyone. Any last questions, pop them up. But like I said, you're not alone. You can drop any questions when you're ready, and I'll be emailing you and reminding you about the VIP call and the link to the trainings, etc. Oh, thank you, everyone. You are very welcome. Take care and lots of love.